With the greatest concentration of small island states worldwide, both the Pacific and the Caribbean regions face common threats based on the similar geography of small islands, accelerating climate change and the increasing frequency of related disasters. The South-South project promotes the exchange of best practices and expertise between the Pacific and the Caribbean through capacity building, and it encourages small islands to find relevant solutions that can be implemented with limited resources. As a recent part of the UNDP South-South project, a delegation consisting of UNDP, SOPEC, and Caribbean experts visited Kiribati to study climate issues facing atoll countries and the solutions being adopted in Kiribati. After meeting with government officials, the group viewed several initiatives, such as a seawall to protect the airport runway from the ocean, a technical team testing drinking water for salinity, and gauges installed at the wharf to monitor the rising sea levels. Let's see what the experts had to say about their visit to Kiribati.
I wanted the Caribbean experts to come to an atoll country because that's one of the more extreme situations that we find in the Pacific in terms of water scarcity, extreme shortage of land, sea level rise which is increasing, and serious coastal erosion. So Kiribati is really the place where you see all of these threats which are quite advanced. And we felt it was important to get the perspective from the Caribbean experts and some ideas about solutions that might work in the case of Kiribati.
So it's been a really interesting experience going around and seeing how people adapt to living marginally above sea level and the types of challenges that they face. One of the things that we also are really struck by is the challenges in terms of adapting to climate change, where there's going to be impacts on the water resources, there are going to be coastal impacts on ecosystems and so on. And these are really, really interesting problems that are here and now type problems and problems that need to be solved today rather than tomorrow. But we're also interested in learning from the experiences here because some of these experiences we think are transferable to our own region as we prepare ourselves for climate change and climate adaptation.
One of the important initiatives includes building upon natural lines of defense against coastal erosion. This includes managing mangrove sites.
This special year we planted with Protestant women last year during November, and we did plant more than 3,000 mangrove seedlings with them. With a mangrove, we see a lot of importance because we have traveled to outer islands, and where there are many mangroves, there are many marine life there. People used to go there and fishing. They don't have to go deep water, and also with strong storm and erosion, they are more safe from those kind of issues.
Well, the first thing I notice is that high waves break fairly far offshore, which suggests to me that this island has an excellent natural protection system, which perhaps has not been taken advantage of as much as it could have been, and protected as much as it could have been. I see that this island could have an excellent coastal structure, not just for the protection of its residents, but also for economic growth.
Pulaka pits and the taro that grows in them are major sources of food and economic activity for the Kiribati people. New methods and protective measures may need to be adopted if saltwater inundation continues to be a problem.
If you pan out and just have a look at this area, you can see that there's, obviously it's intertidal. You've got the young mangroves all growing in here, and you can see the channel here where the water's coming in from the lagoon at high tide. Further out, you've got all those dead, mature coconut trees. So that's a sign of recent inundation in an area that's been freshwater dominated for quite a long time. And that's precisely the issue with the village here, is that they've had all of this low-laying area here as a freshwater area. I think they used to have taro gardens, etc. inside it.
There is limited access to fresh water in atoll countries. The analysis conducted on this mission supports that there may be considerable groundwater potential on Bondrigi Island. Going forward, the South-South project will address the limited access to potable water in atoll countries and provide a sustainable, replicable plan of action.
be of benefit for our technicians to come to the Pacific and to learn about those methodologies. What do you do when you are not given a blank check for coastal climate change adaptation? How can you use what you have or what is available in terms of information, data?
Yeah, I think the most interesting part was the people themselves. Although they, as an outsider, we identify the vulnerabilities, very high vulnerabilities, and it's really taking its toll, being the coast being washed away because of these coastal processes, and also the drought situation. There's not enough fresh water. But we noticed that the people are very much at ease. They are not moved. They enjoy their life, and that really challenges us how resilient they are and some of the strategies they have developed over time to be able to counter those difficulties.
There is great potential for exchange of ideas, experiences, and best practices between seeds in the Pacific and the Caribbean, in order to find suitable solutions and replicate best practices for addressing the various threats posed by climate change and disasters. The way forward for SEEDS countries also entails the harmonization of disaster risk management and climate change science for a more integrated approach which grasps the critical linkages between these fields of work.